The story takes center stage. In Beyond Bullet Points, Cliff Atkinson stresses, the single most important thing you can do to dramatically improve your presentations is to have a story to tell before you work on your PowerPoint file. Atkinson advocates a 3-step storyboard approach to creating presentations: writing, sketching, producing. Only after writing, scripting the scenes does he advocate thinking visually about how the slides will look. To write a script, you need to momentarily set aside PowerPoint design issues like fonts, colors, backgrounds, and slide transitions. Although it might sound counterintuitive when you write a script first, you actually expand your visual possibilities because writing defines your purpose before you start designing. A script unlocks the undiscovered power of PowerPoint as a visual storytelling tool in ways that might surprise and delight you and your audiences. With a complicated script in hand, you will be ready to sketch and produce the experience. The script, however, must come first. 9 elements of great presentations. Persuasive presentation scripts contain 9 common elements. Think about incorporating each of these components before you open the presentation program. Whether you work in PowerPoint, Keynote, or any other design software, some of these concepts will be explored in more detail later, but for now, keep them in mind as you develop your ideas. Headline. What is the one big idea you want to leave with your audience? It should be short, 140 characters or less, memorable, and written in the subject-verb-object sequence. When Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone, he exclaimed, "Today, Apple reinvents the phone." That's a headline. Headline grab the attention of your audience and give people a reason to listen. Read USA Today for ideas. Here are some examples from America's most popular daily newspaper. Apple's skinny MacBook is fat with features. Apple unleashes Leopard operating system. Apple shrinks iPod. Passion statement. Aristotle, the father of public speaking, believed that successful speakers must have pathos, or passion for their subject. Very few communicators express a sense of excitement about their topic. Steve Jobs exudes an almost giddy enthusiasm every time he presents. Former employees and even some journalists have claimed that they found his energy and enthusiasm completely mesmerizing. Spend a few minutes developing a passion statement by filling in the following sentence. I'm excited about this product, company, initiative, features, etc. because it blank. Once you have identified the passion statement, don't be bashful, share it. 3 key messages. Now that you have decided on your headline and passion statement, write out 3 messages you want your audience to receive. They should be easily recalled without the necessity of looking at notes. Although Scene 5 is dedicated to this subject for now, keep in mind that your listeners can recall only 3 or 4 points in short-term memory. Each of the key messages will be followed by supporting points. Metaphors and analogies. As you develop key messages and supporting points, decide on which rhetorical devices will make your narrative more engaging. According to Aristotle, metaphors is the most important thing by far. A metaphor, a word or phrase that denotes one thing and is used to designate another for purposes of comparison, is a persuasive tool in the best marketing, advertising, and public relations campaigns. Jobs uses metaphors in conversation and presentations. In one famous interview, Jobs said, "What a computer is to me is the most remarkable tool that we have ever come up with. It's equivalent of a bicycle for our minds." Sales professionals are fond of sport metaphors. We're all playing for the same team. This isn't a scrimmage, it's for real. Or we're batting 1,000. Let's keep it up. While sports metaphors work fine, challenge yourself to break away from what your audience expects. I came across an interesting metaphor for a new antivirus suite of applications from Kaspersky. The company ran full-page ads. The one I saw was in USA Today that showed a dejected medieval soldier in a full suit of armor walking away with his back towards the reader. The headline read, "Don't be so sad, you were very good once upon a time." The metaphor compared today's internet security technologies, Kaspersky's competitors, to slow, cumbersome medieval armor, which of course is no match for today's military technology. The company extended the metaphor to the website with an image of a suit of armor and the same tagline. The metaphor was consistent throughout the company's marketing material. Analogies are close cousins of metaphors and also are very effective. An analogy is a comparison between two different things in order to highlight some area of similarity. Analogies help us understand concepts that might be foreign to us. The microprocessor is the brain of your computer is an analogy that works well for companies such as Intel. In many ways, the chip serves the same function in the computer as a brain serves in a human. The chip and the brain are two different things with like features. This particular analogy is so useful that it's widely picked up by the media. When you find a strong analogy that works, stick with it and make it consistent across your presentations. Website and marketing material. Jobs likes to have fun with analogies, especially if they can be applied to Microsoft. During an interview with the Wall Street Journal's Walt Mossberg, Jobs pointed out that many people say iTunes is their favorite application for Windows. It's like giving a glass of ice of water to someone in hell. Demonstrations. Jobs shares the spotlight with employees, partners, and products. Demos make up a large part of his presentations. When Jobs unveiled a new version of OS X operating system, codenamed Leopard, at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, commonly abbreviated as WWDC, the annual conference is an Apple event to showcase new software and technologies. In June 2007, he said Leopard had 300 new features. He chose 10 to discuss and demonstrate, including Time Machine, automated backup, Boot Camp, runs Windows XP and Vista on Mac, and Stacks file organization. Instead of simply listing the features on a slide and explaining them, he sat down and showed the audience how they worked. He also chose the features he wanted the press to highlight. Why leave it to the media to decide which of 300 new features were the most compelling? He would tell them, does your product lend itself to a demonstration? If so, script it into the presentation. Your audience wants to see, touch, and experience your product or service. Bring it to life. I worked with Goldman Sachs investors to prepare the CEO of a Silicon Valley semiconductor startup that was about to go public. The company shrinks chips that create audio sounds for mobile computers. As we were planning the investor presentation, the CEO pulled out a chip the size of a fingernail and said, "You wouldn't believe the sound that this generates. Listen to this." He turned up the volume on his laptop and played music that impressed those of us who were in the room. It was a no-brainer to use the same demonstration with a more dramatic build-up. When the executive pitched the company to investors, the IPO went on to become a huge success. An investor who had underwritten the company later called me and said, "I don't know what you did, but the CEO was a hit." I didn't have the heart to say that I stole the idea from the Steve Jobs playbook. Partners. Jobs shares the stage with the key partners as well as his products. In September 2005, Jobs announced that all of Madonna's albums would be available on iTunes. The pop star herself suddenly appeared via webcam and joked with Jobs that she had tried to hold out as long as possible but got tired of not being able to download her own songs. Whether it's an artist or an industry partner like the CEOs of Intel, Fox, or Sony, Jobs often shares the stage with people who contribute to Apple's success. Customer evidence and third-party endorsements. Offering customer evidence or testimonials is an important part of the selling cycle. Few customers want to be pioneers, especially when budgets are tight. Just as recruiters ask for references, your customers want to hear success stories. This is especially critical for small companies. Your sales and marketing collateral might look great in that glossy 4-color brochure, but it will be met with a healthy degree of skepticism. The number one influencer is word of mouth. Successful product launches usually have several customers who were involved in the beta and who can vouch for the product. Incorporate customer evidence into your pitch. Including a quote is simple enough, but try going one step further by recording a short testimonial and embedding the video on your site and in your presentation. Even better, invite a customer to join you in person or via webcam at a presentation or an important sales meeting. Do you have third-party reviews of your product? Always use third-party endorsements when available. Word of mouth is one of the most effective marketing tools available, and when your customers see an endorsement from a publication or an individual they respect, it will make them feel more comfortable about their purchasing decisions. Video clips. Very few presenters incorporate video into their presentations. Jobs plays video clips very often. Sometimes he shows video of employees talking about how much they enjoyed working on a product. Jobs is also fond of showing Apple's most recent television ads. He does so in nearly every major new product announcement and has been doing so since the launch of the famous Macintosh 1984 Super Bowl ad. He's been known to enjoy some ads so much that he showed them twice. Near the end of his presentation at Apple's WWDC in June 2008, Jobs announced the new iPhone 3G, which connects to higher speed data networks and costs less than the iPhone that was currently on the market. He showed a television ad with the tagline, "It's finally here, the first phone to beat the iPhone." When the 30-second spot ended, a beaming Jobs said, "Isn't that nice? Want to see it again? Let's roll it again. I love this ad." Including video clips in your presentation will help you stand out. You can show ads, employee testimonials, scenes of the product or of people using the product, and even customer endorsements. What could be more persuasive than hearing directly from a satisfied customer, if not in person, than through a short video clip embedded in your presentation? You can easily encode video into digital formats such as MPEG-1, Windows Media, or QuickTime files, all of which will work for most presentations. Keep in mind that the average viewed clip on YouTube is 2.5 minutes. Our attention spans are shrinking, and video while providing a great way to keep the audience engaged can be overused if left to run too long. Use video clips in your presentations, but avoid clips that run much longer than 2 to 3 minutes. Video is a terrific tool for even the most non-technical of presentations. I was helping the California Strawberry Commission prepare for a series of presentations set to take place on the East Coast. Commission members showed me a short video of strawberry growers expressing their love of the land and the fruit. The images of strawberry fields were gorgeous, and I suggested they create a digital file of video clip and embedded it in the presentation. In the presentation itself, they introduced the video by saying something like this: "We realized that you probably have never visited a California strawberry field, so we decided to bring the farmers to you." The video clip was the most memorable part of the presentation, and the East Coast editors loved it. Flip charts, props, and show and tells. There are three types of learners. Visual, the majority of people fall into this category. Auditory, listeners, and kinesthetic, people who like to feel and touch. Find ways to appeal to everyone. A presentation should comprise more than just slides. Use whiteboards, flip charts, or the high-tech flip chart, a tablet, PC. Bring props such as physical products for people to see, use, and touch. In Scene 12, you'll learn much more about reaching the three types of learners. Most communicators get so caught up in the slides. Which font should I use? Should I use bullets or dashes? Should I include a graph here? How about a picture there? There are the wrong questions to be asking in the planning stage. If you have a tangible product, find other ways outside of the slide deck to show it off. On October 14, 2008, Steve introduced a new line of MacBooks carved out of one piece of aluminum, a unibody enclosure. After Jobs discussed the manufacturing process, Apple employees handed out examples of the new frame so audience members could see it and touch it for themselves. Incorporating all of these elements in the presentation will help you tell a story worth listening to. Slides don't tell stories, you do. Slides complement the story. This book is software agnostic. It avoids a direct comparison between PowerPoint and Keynote because the software is not the main character in an effective presentation. The speaker is. Jobs himself started using Apple's Keynote software in 2002. So what are we to make of the extraordinary presentations Jobs gave dating back to 1984? The software is not the answer. The fact that Steve Jobs uses Keynote instead of PowerPoint doesn't mean your presentations will look more like his if you make the switch. You will, however, win over your audience by spending more time creating the plot than producing the slides. Using a notepad or a whiteboard to script your ideas, it will help you visualize the story and simplify its components. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1996, taking over for ousted Jill Amelio, he found a company with more than 40 different products, which confused the customer. In a bold move, he radically simplified the product pipeline. And inside Steve's brain, Linda Carney writes that Jobs called senior management into his office. Jobs drew a very simple 2x2 grid on the whiteboard. Across the top, he wrote consumer and professional, and down the side, portable and desktop. Under Jobs, Apple would offer just 4 computers, 2 notebooks, and 2 desktops aimed at consumer and professional users. This is one of the many stories in which we learn that Jobs does his best thinking when he is thinking visually. Whether you plan best on a whiteboard, a yellow legal pad, or post-it notes, spend time in analog before jumping to digital. Your ultimate presentation will be far more interesting, engaging, and relevant. A Steve Jobs presentation follows Aristotle's classic 5-point plan to create a persuasive argument. First, deliver a story or statement that arouses the audience's interest. Second, pose a problem or question that has to be solved or answered. 3. Offer a solution to the problem you raised. 4. Describe specific benefits for adopting the course of action set forth in your solution. 5th, state a call to action. For Steve Jobs, it's as simple as saying, now go out and buy one. Director's notes. Start planning before you open the presentation software. Sketch ideas on paper or whiteboards. Incorporate some of, not all, of the following 9 elements to make your presentations come alive. Headline, passion statement, 3 key messages, analogies, demonstrations, partner showcase, customer evidence, video clips, and props. Speaking like Jobs has little to do with the type of presentation software you use, PowerPoint, Keynote, etc., and everything to do with how you craft and deliver the story.